Let me talk to you about the Experian dispute process. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation, I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome City Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka. Now let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about the Experian dispute process. Everything you need to know and mistakes that you need to avoid to boost your credit score, okay? It's important to understand that if you want to dispute your credit report information through Experian, you can do so you can go to their website. You can actually do it over the phone, but it all starts with discovering information on your credit report that shouldn't be there in the first place. So once you have that, you can request to have it removed in a process known as a dispute. So to dispute credit report information, you'll need to contact the credit bureau in whose report you found the error. In this case, we are talking about Experian. So it's important to check for accuracy in your credit reports from the three major credit bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So even if this show is focused on Experian, you want to make sure that the information is consistent or different from each credit bureau. This is important, okay? You can do that by requesting a free credit report from each of the bureaus at annualcreditreport.com once a year. And outdated or incorrect entries such as a timely payment misreported as a late payment, or a collection account listed as an open even though you've closed them, those could be reasons why you want to contact Experian. And correcting these issues can in turn improve your credit scores, right? Because the bottom line here is to increase your credit score. Decision time, big decision time. Do you currently have a system in place where you monitor your credit report information? Do you? If you don't, you better have it now, because credit report inaccuracies are not widespread, but they do occur. Okay, this is something that, and don't sit there and tell me, oh, well, this will never happen to me. You'll never know. You never know. And this, when an error happens, when let's say an inaccuracy happens, this could be the results of a creditor's incomplete reporting of information to the credit bureaus. So for that reason, if you see something wrong on your report, you want to dispute it. One thing I want to say is that there are three ways where you can do this. You can do this online, so you get access to your Experian credit report, and you can initiate a dispute at the Experian Dispute Center. There is no cost to you for using this service. That's the first way. Second way, by phone. So to initiate a dispute by phone, you will call the number displayed on your Experian credit report, and if you'd like to have a copy of your credit report delivered to you by mail, you want to call 1-866-200-6020. Okay, and you can also dispute an item by mail by sending you can write to Experian, P.O. Box 4500, Allen, Texas 75013. Let's talk about the online steps. So part of the trifecta is online, so you can do things online. Okay, let me give you a step-by-step in terms of disputing your items online. So this is the easiest and quickest way to dispute your Experian credit report. You want to check your credit report online, and you want to submit corrections through the online dispute center. And so your Experian credit report is divided into sections with the following headings. So you have personal information, accounts, inquiries, and possibly public records. And one thing you need to understand is that not all credit reports contain public records entries, and information that could be hurting your credit may appear under an additional section with the heading potentially negative. Okay, so if you have found inaccurate, let's say you have found inaccurate data on your Experian credit report, here are the steps that will help you complete your dispute online. First, you want to go to the dispute center for details on the dispute process. So this is when you go to Experian, they have a dispute center. Okay, this is basically your source for correcting credit report information that you consider incomplete or inaccurate. So once you have a chance to read through the information there, you want to click Start a New Dispute to view your credit report and select an entry to dispute. So that's the first step. Second step is you need to indicate the reason for each dispute. So you need to select the reason for each dispute. You would see a drop down box, and some entries may ask you to type in explanatory information, and in certain cases you'll be directed to provide documentation to verify the correction, because you need to back up, you need to substantiate the correction that you are asking for. And the third step is you need to review and submit the dispute. Okay, please make sure that you double check your dispute request. You want to revise the details if you wish, and then click submit. You will see a confirmation page when the dispute is filed successfully, and upload a document link you can use to submit scanned pages to support your dispute. You need to back things up, very important. And then you need to let the dispute process play out. Okay, Experian will send you emails when your dispute has been opened, provide updates as appropriate during the process, and let you know when your dispute results are available. You can also view these notes in the alert section of the dispute center. So once completed, your dispute results will be available in the completed section of the dispute center. And generally, based on our experience, all disputes are resolved within 30 days. Okay, and when necessary, Experian will contact data furnishers, so the original source of the disputed information, such as a lender or other business, to verify the information you are disputing. Note that information verified as accurate cannot be removed from your credit report. Now, let's say you applied for a dispute. You seek a dispute through the post. So we're speaking about the post request, okay? What happens after you submit your dispute? So after you have submitted a dispute, the basic thing here is that Experian will go to work to resolve the issue. And internally, they have given themselves, the teams that actually, the teams that work on that process, they have given themselves 30 days to answer all disputes. So the one thing you need to understand is that there are cases when Experian might take longer, especially if they have to contact the data furnisher. So when you hear the data furnisher, we are speaking about your bank or credit card issuer, okay? And Experian will want to corroborate what you're saying versus what they are saying. It's all about having some kind of a parallel information from both sides, okay? And they'll contact your bank or credit card issuer or credit union to verify the data, and they will be asked to check their records. Then one of three things will happen. So the incorrect information will be corrected. That's option number one. Option number two, information that cannot be verified will be updated or deleted. And option number three, information verified as accurate will remain intact on your credit report. What's the bottom line here? The bottom line is that simply because you say something is wrong doesn't mean that it will be automatically removed from your credit report. No. If after investigation, the information that you think is incorrect has been validated both by the credit card issuer or bank and by Experian, it will be there. So the bottom line is, don't even try to lie, because if the information is wrong and you're saying it's right, I mean, if the information is right and you're saying it's wrong, chances are it will be maintained in your credit report. Okay, so big decision time. If you have identified information that you think is inaccurate on your credit report, before you file a dispute with Experian, think twice. You want to think twice. You want to double check your own records to make sure that you haven't paid for that. You haven't opened a credit card 10 years ago and forgotten about it. You really want to make sure that the item did not come from you and that you were a victim of identity theft or something else. That the bottom line is that the information is false. Before you file a dispute, make sure it is indeed false. I want to talk to you also about tracking disputes, and this is important. You better track dispute. This is really important because after you file something, you need to have a clear idea of the process, right? How do you track your dispute status? So once you have submitted your dispute, Experian will send you alerts via email whenever there is a status update. Now this is really good. If you already have an account with Experian, you can also view your dispute alerts in the main alert section of your Experian accounts. And one thing we love here is that alerts you will receive while Experian processes your dispute include open. So this indicates the dispute process has been initiated. And this is important because At least now you have clear confirmation that there is a countdown. Remember, I was telling you earlier about the 30-day rule that they have internally. This is good because once you have the open status, you know there is something going on. You know they are working on your case. They are working on your file. Okay, and this is reassuring, and it's also good because from a federal or state regulatory perspective, there has to be trails. There has to be records that show that Experian has been complying with federal laws and state laws in terms of credit report information. So open is the first status that you will see. And then you see update. So update means that your dispute investigation has been completed and your credit report is being updated with the results. And this could actually come from several things. That, for example, you are right. So the information that you believed is wrong has been confirmed wrong. And in this case, Experian will proceed to update your record, and you should see a bump in your credit score very quickly. Or they can do it totally or partially. So the information can be confirmed partially or totally. Either way, this is great for you because you will see a FICO score bump. And the third item you can see is dispute results ready. So your credit report has been updated with the results of the dispute investigation. And again, this is great because this allows you to say, okay, I initiated something 30 days ago or 25 days ago or 7 days ago, and now the dispute results are ready. And please, it's always great to look into the results and see exactly what happened. You want to see exactly what happened so that maybe you can avoid the errors in the future. Let me give you an example. If Citibank has been if they reported inaccurate information on your FICO score, this could be great to know, okay, I need to talk to people at Citi so that this doesn't happen in the future. Let me talk to you about the outcomes. Okay, before I was talking to you about the dispute, how you can track them. Now let's talk about the outcomes. So there are possible dispute outcomes. First of all, you can have when the dispute process is complete and basically you have the dispute results ready, Experian will display the outcome in the alerts section of your Experian account. And here are possible outcomes you may see and what they mean. So you have a dispute related to accounts or public records. Okay, so you can have updated. So this can mean a couple of things, such as the information you disputed has been updated, or the information you disputed might have been verified as accurate by the data furnisher, but other information on your account unrelated to your dispute has been updated. That's number one. Then you have deleted. So the disputed item was removed from your credit report. Then you have processed. So the disputed item was updated or deleted from your credit report. And then you have remains. So the company reporting the information has certified to Experian that the information is accurate, so the item has not changed. That's why I was talking to you earlier about the fact that simply disputing an item on Experian doesn't mean that it will lead to automatic deletion. No, there has to be an investigation, there has to be a process, there has to be due diligence, there has to be a data collection from the data furnisher to make sure that the information, what you're saying, is actually accurate. So if what you're saying does not correlate to the facts, you will see remains on your file. And you also have disputes related to your personal information or an inquiry. So for instance, you will have added. So this item was added to your credit report, updated. The information you disputed has been updated or on your credit report, address updated. So this may actually appear to you as deleted as your address is updated to the current address. You may see deleted. So the item was removed from your credit report, processed. The item was either updated or deleted. And again, you will see the last one, the remains. So the company reporting the information has certified to Experian that the information is accurate, so the item has not changed. So when we talk about the company reporting the information, sometimes we use the word data furnisher. Data furnisher. And this is basically the bank, credit union, business, or a lender that reported the information in the first place. I'll be right back, but after this, don't go anywhere. Let me talk to you about the credit impact. So this is important because we are actually speaking about Experian dispute process, the dispute process, and we want to have a clear idea of the impact of such a process on your credit score. So how disputing impacts credit. Filing a dispute with one or all of the credit bureaus has no direct impact on your credit scores. Okay, I just want to clarify that. But once the dispute process is completed, any changes to your credit report could lead to changes in your credit scores. So whether your score goes up, down, or remains the same depends on what you're disputing and the outcome of the dispute. Okay, so removal, let's just say removal of mistakenly reported negative information, such as let's say late payments or unpaid collections accounts, could lead to credit score improvements. Your FICO could actually go up by 50 points or 100 points, depending on the item. On the other hand, corrections to your personal information, while important to maintaining accurate credit tracking, have no impact on credit scores. Okay, remember that when we speak about FICO, you are speaking about your payment history, the length of your credit, the diversity, the credit mix. You're thinking about your credit utilization ratio. So personal information, your age, where you currently live, those are important, but they're not really critical. Okay, so when you file a dispute with the credit reporting agencies, they are required by the Fair Credit Reporting Act to show that the item is in dispute. That's what Experian or Equifax or TransUnion will try to do. But you want to pay attention to something called XB. So if you look at your Experian report, you'll see something called XB. So this is referred to as Compliance Condition Code. So the XB code is present when you have the XB on an account, a public record, or a collection. Credit scoring systems treat it differently than they would if the account was not actively in dispute. Okay, so anytime you want to pay attention to this XB code. And one thing you need to understand also is that when we speak about your credit report, your credit score, there is data that may not be related to your financial usage, to the card usage or your financial life, that could have an impact on your credit score. Let me give you an example. When you have collections, those have monetary. They have a monetary link to your credit score. But what if you have a tax lien? A tax lien is not per se a financial item because you haven't done anything. The only thing you have not done is pay your taxes. But those items are public information. They constitute public information and they have an impact on your credit score. Same thing for bankruptcy, foreclosure, or if you have been charged criminally in a court of law. Before we close today's conversation, let's talk about disagreements. So, what do you do? What recourse do you have if you disagree with the outcome of your dispute? Because the thing here is that you might not always agree with Experian. So if you don't agree with the results of your Experian dispute, here are some additional steps you can take. First, you want to contact the information source or sources, because that's really, if you really think about it, that's your next step. That's the best step you can take next. You want to contact the data furnisher, the entity that originally provided the disputed information to Experian, and you want to offer proof that their information is indeed incorrect. So the source may be the lender or a financial institution that issued you a loan or credit, but it could also be a collection agency or government office. You want to contact information for each source appears on your credit report, and you can use it to reach out to them. Then it's important to initiate that conversation with the data furnisher. That's the first thing you need to do. Contact the information source or sources. Number two, you want to add a statement of dispute to your credit report. You could actually do that. You can actually add a statement of dispute to your credit report. So this statement of dispute lets you explain why you believe the information in your credit report is incomplete or inaccurate. And your statement will appear on your Experian credit report whenever it is accessed or requested by a potential lender or creditor. So they may ask you for more details or documentation as part of their review or application process. So to add a statement of dispute, you need to go to the Experian Dispute Center. You choose the item in dispute and select Add a Statement from the menu of dispute reasons. Okay, so that's the second option. The third thing you can do is to dispute again with relevant information. If you have additional relevant information to substantiate your claim, you can submit a new dispute. If you are filing the dispute online, you want to follow the steps that I listed earlier for using the dispute center, and use the upload link to provide your supporting documentation. Okay, and also a dispute with additional relevant information can also be submitted by mail. So the address is Experian, PO Box 4500 4500, Allen, Texas 75013. Okay, so this is something you need to do. And the bottom line here is that regularly checking your credit reports for accuracy and disputing any errors you discover can help ensure that your activity is tracked correctly and that you get the credit score you deserve based on your credit habits. So big decision time. Do you currently have a system in place when you constantly monitor your credit report? And if you do you have items that are currently sitting on with Experian or Equifax or TransUnion for that matter that have not been resolved? Talk to me about that. You can put in the comment section and explain and give it your story, and we'll answer any questions that you have. We'll provide additional guidance. Thank you, folks. So in today's conversation, I give you an overview of the Experian dispute process, the online steps, the post request, how to track disputes, the outcomes, the credit impacts, and the disagreements. Thank you so much for your attention. I'll see you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.